Everybody loves a good story, so grab a cup of coffee and join us as we have fun and also learn a few things from some ladies who have seen God at work in their lives. And, long story short, they're here to tell us all about it. So, it's our first show, and today we welcome Cassie Myers. Yay! So we had our last show. Again, I'm Misty Wilson.
And I'm Jennifer Welch.
And here we are. We were all feeling really strange that we weren't nervous about this. And I think it's because we all know each other so well and have such a good time together. So.
I think I've known both of y'all the same amount. I think I've known you maybe 6 months less than I've known Misty. I'm
wow, that's pretty specific.
Right, I know.
Okay, so before we kind of get into it, what's been going on? What have y'all been doing? Because I personally have had a life-changing 2 weeks. But, I'm sure y'all's were great too, so.
Well, I'm sure that mine doesn't compare to
No, I'm just playing
yours,
around.
but.
I visited the Holy Lands, and it was like a turning point in my spiritual walk and just in my life in general. So it was pretty cool.
So
but I'm just totally kidding about you guys.
Can I even be saved if I haven't been to Israel?
That's terrible, of course.
Just joking.
I feel bad. I wasn't trying to say y'all's wasn't special at all.
It does seem like a trip of a lifetime, though.
It really does.
Really was. But, some of the people there had been there 3 or 4 times.
Is it any less special?
Crazy. Yeah. They were, I don't know. I kept thinking when we go to the place, they'd be like, yeah, we've been to Capernaum before. This is cool. Because I was just spellbound the whole time. And maybe you just don't remember it because there were so many places. We saw probably, I know at least 25 different sites. So after...
In how many days?
In 8 days. And even by the end, we were joking, but we couldn't remember what we did at the first. That's how bad it was.
That's a lot.
So anyway, maybe it's just that it's hard to remember it all or something.
Maybe you get to take something new in each time.
That's probably, I know that's true.
Yeah.
I know
that's kind of like reading the Bible, every time you read this same story, you get something different.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably, and I'm sure Lisa George, our pastor's wife, she went with us, and I know that she would say something this time impacted her as, more than maybe last time or something. And I'm sure every time you have a different tour guide, they talk about different things. So yeah. So anyway, what did you guys do
in the past 2 weeks?
What have you been doing the past 2 weeks?
I just wanted to share about my trip.
Past 2 weeks, we've been growing this baby.
That's right.
Cassie's gonna have a baby,
so that's kind of been
a big
focus.
I'd say that's a big life thing. Actually, yours probably trumps mine, honestly. As far as a life changing.
She's growing a human. She
human.
literally has a rib cage inside of her rib cage.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, well, I guess it's not in rib cage.
So yes, you've been busy.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, you traveled.
Well, we did. We went for spring break. We surprised the girl. They knew we were going to go to Louisiana to go to Jeff's mom's house because my cousin was getting married, and so we just decided to spend the week with her, and then go to my cousin's wedding. But Jeff wanted them to have something special beforehand, so we surprised them and went to Dallas the weekend before, and we toured Globe Life Park, where the Texas Rangers play.
Oh, and no wonder I didn't know what that was.
Exactly. And, we're baseball people. So, although I will say they had the rodeo in there the weekend before, and so they were relaying the field. And y'all have met me and my allergies, and so there was dirt all in the stadium. There was a layer of dust over everything, and I'm allergic to everything. And the guy was telling us that they have this special turf, and to put stuff down, it's a mixture of dirt and crushed up coconut husks. I'm allergic to coconut, you guys. So Jeff looks over at one point. He's like, "Are you miserable?" I just
no
looked,
wonder.
And I was like, "Just a little, but it's totally fine. Everything's fine." Because we were getting to see all the cool suites that you would never see unless you pay $400,000 a year. So that'll never happen for me. But whatever.
When I think about your allergies, I think about Hitch, where he drinks the Benadryl
I think about that all the time. Yeah,
you probably have wanted to do that before. That's not safe, by the way. They should.
Oh yeah, probably.
To just drink Benadryl like that?
No, in a straw. That should not even be on that movie. That makes people want to do dangerous things. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, good. Let's get on to Cassie.
Let's get get on to her. Let's get on to Cassie.
So, like you said, we've known Cassie for a long time, but it's so interesting. Like last week when Jennifer was sharing, there were so many things you said that I was like, I realized that with your close friends, you don't usually go backwards and talk about like things in the past. So I was really excited to just get to talk to you just about like, and I actually, like you said, I mean, I feel like you were a senior in high school.
Probably the first time, yes, because we did the sacrifice to Mexico, and that's where I first met you.
Right. That was a show our church put on for Easter or something, yeah.
Jeff was in that show.
He was?
He was.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so
that was senior
I've
year.
known you a long time, but I mean, there's still things I know that I don't know about you. So tell us a little bit just about your story.
Well, I was born in Texas, close to where y'all were at, because grew up in Plano.
I was thinking about it.
And I mean, I had, I guess, the typical mom and dad. I have one brother and two sisters. And when we moved to Arkansas, I was a junior in high school. And at that point in my life, that was probably the worst thing that could ever have happened to me.
Really?
Just because I'd been in the same school, the same church, and then we were moving to Arkansas and everything was changing. Of course, now I see it as like, it was a great thing. I mean, obviously I'm still here, so I like it.
But at that time,
at that time and at that age, it was like the worst thing
Scary.
that could have happened. But I mean, if I didn't move here, I wouldn't have met my husband.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have met y'all. I mean,
That's so funny that I didn't realize I met you basically right after you moved here. I didn't remember that at all. Okay. So, and the minute you got here, did you join this church? And
we visited a couple of churches. I think this was maybe the second or third church, but as soon as we came here, we've never left.
Yeah. So you moved to a new school your 11th grade year too. I did the same thing. That was very odd.
It was hard
because you're like joining all these people that have been there forever, and
everyone already has their friends, and you're like, okay, I'm the new girl.
Yeah. But you get to know, Cassie gets to know people really quickly.
Yeah, she does. I mean, she got to know me really fast.
Yeah. Well, and anyway, that's interesting. So, as you were growing up, did you ever think about missions? Because maybe the people listening don't know, but we know that your life had a sudden change when you were older. How did that come about? And when you were young, did you ever think about missions very much?
I did. So like the church, like this church is very mission based. And so was the church that I came from in Texas.
Okay.
I was part of GAs. Is that familiar to anyone?
Yes.
Girls
I was
in Action.
GAs. I loved GAs, yes.
Is it a thing still? I
don't think it is.
But
probably because Awana took over the
Maybe.
world. And Awana's better, so.
But I was a GA, and so that's all about like serving and missions and all of that. So, I mean, I think the first mission trip I went on was to Mexico City, and I was middle school, maybe.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
I went without my parents. That was like a big deal.
Yeah.
So I've always been drawn to like sharing the gospel and like missions and things like that.
Did you ever think about what you would want to be when you grew up? Did it cross your mind?
I mean, when I was younger, I don't think missionary crossed my mind of like, I'm going to be a missionary.
Yeah.
I think at that time I wanted to be like a singer or something like that. Like,
well, yeah.
So Cassie has a beautiful voice. We didn't say that. She, oh my goodness, she has it's like a pure.
Yeah. Oh, that's the word I was going to say is pure.
Yeah, very
Smooth.
angelic, smooth voice.
Yeah.
And if you go to our church, you've heard her sing many times, and it is just and besides that, she just sings straight to God. I mean, it's just so worshipful.
You can see her heart.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that. Thank you.
So, did you think about being a singer? I mean, is that what you were saying?
I mean, singer or like
She
later
did
on, like,
try out
teacher.
for American Idol.
I did.
She did.
Yeah. Oh, I knew
I
that.
did.
Yes, you did.
I made it through a few rounds. I never got
course
to
you
like see get on TV and see like the TV judges or whatever.
But thank goodness you didn't, because what if your life had taken you a totally different direction and then you wouldn't have ever met Chris? So it's
very
thing.
true.
I don't know. It would have been pretty cool, though.
I mean, I guess.
But yeah, actually, we're American Idol buddies. Every year at American Idol time, me and Cassie,
No,
we
you
still
had
watch
big
it.
parties at the you always had
We
the
did.
watch party
We
at
have
the
American
end,
Idol
because I
parties.
remember the night of mine and Jeff's first kiss, we had been at your
American
Oh
Idol
my gosh! You know what? I forgot
Wow.
that was at your apartment. Well, not like outside of your
The Jason
apartment.
Castro one?
I think it
She
was.
was obsessed with the Jason
know.
Castro
I was.
contestant.
We
Yeah.
went with your roommate all in the same car to Misty's to the American Idol watch party.
We did. Y'all did.
Yes, and then we came back, and your
Are you
roommate
watching
was
it now? Either of you?
I haven't watched this
No.
season yet.
Listen,
I'm watching it.
we
And I
don't-
love it.
we don't watch a lot that's not sports.
Yeah. Yeah. We are
Especially
very
this time of
different
year.
in that way,
I know,
Jennifer.
I know. But listen, it's Arkansas Razorback baseball season. So,
Right.
our
right.
life, TV life, that's what it revolves around.
Yeah.
You know.
March Madness kind of ended for us.
Oh, it ended for everybody, didn't it? Like, after the
Cassie,
second
you don't
round.
watch sports.
No.
you're not
She's
a
like,
sports
I'm
person.
done with
Chris
this
doesn't
conversation.
really either, so
Okay.
it
Yeah.
works out.
That's good.
Okay.
I mean, if it's
They
on,
like God and stuff, not sports.
if it's on or our friends are watching it, we're not like opposed. But if we're at home, just the two of us,
You're not gonna
it's
choose
not going to
that.
be like, oh, let's put on the game.
Well, that's something I wanted to talk about a little bit was your intentionality with things, because I've always loved how when we're talking about just culture and thoughts and world or whatever, you're always very intentional about what you watch. I know when we talk about viewing, because there's so many things that you don't really know what to watch anymore. And I mean, everybody has a different take on it. And sometimes you'll talk to people and they basically watch anything. Some people are more selective. Why are you more selective? Is that a hard question?
I mean, something that Chris and I have just, as a family, have just decided. And we're obviously not perfect. There's things sometimes we're like, why did we watch that? Or, but I mean, I think it's just important, like what we put in our mind,
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot of trash TV out there. And we're really conscious with cursing. Like if it's a movie, like, oh, this seems really good, we'll look up the parent guide. And honestly, most of the time now it's like, oh, well, I guess we're not going to watch that one.
Yeah.
Because, there's
So
this
you
many
look at
words
the
and
parent
this-
guide. What do you
Yeah.
use to?
we usually use IMBD,
Right.
the
That's what
parent
we
guide,
use,
because
yeah.
it literally will tell you
Everything.
there are
Yeah.
this many F words in the movie.
Yeah.
There are this many
Yeah.
whatever in the movie. Like it breaks it down like
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah,
That's
what
actually
we
what I
use.
used to.
Yeah.
And I feel like as far as like sex scenes, I don't think people often talk about the impact they have on our minds and on our relationships. And you always have had kind of, you hold me accountable in a lot of things. I was realizing as I was thinking about talking to you, and you're one of those people that I know when I'm talking to you about something that I'll know that you're kind of setting the tone for your viewing. And Jennifer is too. I know that sounds terrible. It's not like I'm saying some people don't do that.
Right.
But you're also outspoken about it. A lot of
Yeah.
times people don't talk about what they watch, and
Well, and like in our house, we just don't. If it's rated TVMA, we don't watch it.
yeah.
And unless the only exceptions we will make is if it's like history related, and then even before we do that, we're reading at why it is, and that is how we make our decision.
Yeah.
But if it's,
that's
I just zero tolerance for nudity, because I just
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to watch that with my husband. Like that's uncomfortable to me.
yeah.
So
That's
don't know.
probably something
Yeah.
to talk about at a different
sorry,
time.
my bad.
No, I don't mean that.
Yeah.
My mind's going places. I'm like, yeah, that's probably not where I need to. But I just think it can really harm a relationship of a couple to
Yeah.
see certain scenes, and then you're replaying things in your mind. But anyway, I just have always known you were very intentional about that. You've been very intentional about parenting.
I mean, even especially like thinking about with Josie coming soon, like, do I want her watching that? Or
Right.
if I don't want her watching this specific show or scene, like, why is it okay for me to watch it?
Yeah.
Like, it's not okay for her. I don't want her to be, viewing that or that in her mind, but, it's okay if I watch it.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
I had a moment when I was watching something and my son walked in. This was a long time ago, and I paused it, and he was like, "What are you watching, Mom?" And I told him, and he goes, "Isn't that TVMA?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I don't know. Just as a believer, I just can't figure out a good reason to watch TVMA things."
And you're like,
okay, that's a good point. It's like, I don't know, like, why do I? Because there's so many better things we can do. And that's a whole other conversation is, why is media so important? Like, why is what we watch so dang important? But anyway, also about parenting, just you started learning about parenting. You started asking me things about parenting like years ago, thinking through like the decisions you want to make. And I just thought that was... like, that's just so wise. You just have a lot of wisdom there. But did you learn anything like 2 years ago that you're putting into practice whenever it comes?
I still have my little notebook and all of that. And so,
Is it like a parenting notebook?
Well, yeah. I mean, just from like talking with you or like classes and stuff like that, which I won't need it right off the bat.
Right.
But, I mean...
Do you have? Is there stuff in there about spit up? Because that is what you'll need.
Yeah,
poopy diapers.
But I mean, we've wanted to be parents for a long time.
Did you have a notebook? Did you have a notebook, Jennifer?
No, but in the back of my head, I remember this so vividly. Misty told me once.
Oh no!
There are going to be times. This is before Kindle. There are going to be times that you are going to sit and even wonder, why did I want kids? So then I had Kindle, and I was like, I just never think that. Ever. She's amazing. I can't believe Misty thought that. And then I had Jonesy, and I was like, "This is what Misty is talking about right here."
Funny.
Yeah, but it's just the totally difference. It's just the difference in the kids.
And for my kids, Wade and Allie Jane out there, I never thought that.
Oh right, yeah. Oh, babies.
Okay, so back to your story.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, there you
go.
Since
we decided we want to talk to you.
Okay,
this is one thing that I have been wanting to know. So. You and Chris started dating before he went, so people may not know, he went to Haiti before you.
Yes.
And you knew that he was going to go to Haiti. Mm-hmm. But that's like not a normal long distance relationship. And that did not affect you. And how old were y'all when that happened?
Let's see. He moved in 2016. 2016, then we got married at the end of 2017.
Okay.
So it was a year and a half-ish.
Yeah, so you were like...
of long distance.
Yeah, but you were like...
A long distance, yeah.
But you were like 26-ish?
Well, I got married when I was 30, so I would have been like 29.
Okay, so like this is where my train of thought was going. Most people at that age, women, girls, not... I don't know about guys. But like at that age, if they're still single, they're getting a little desperate and antsy. And I just feel like now with all the different dating apps and with all of the media that's out there, that it would have been very easy for someone to cut that relationship off and just in their mind be like, well, he's leaving, so this isn't it. But I remember a conversation with you where you knew that y'all were going to continue the relationship and that eventually you would be there. And so I was just curious, what was it that made you know for sure you wanted to keep going with that relationship with him, and was it more of a calling for you to become a missionary, or was it he was your leader and you were going to follow him wherever he would take you?
So before I even met Chris, so we have this thing at our church. So we do, is it every
like every other year? I don't know.
Every other year, every 2 years?
I feel like I should know this, but I don't.
We have GIC,
I think
Global
it's every other year.
Impact Celebration. And we bring in a lot of our missionary partners from all over the world. And we just hear about what they're doing. There's, tables, you get to talk to them and just hear what the Lord is doing all around the world. And so it's usually like a week-long event, or right?
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty like week-long.
We have missionaries come in and tell us about where they've been, and
And so during one of those, so before I even knew Chris existed, I guess, they always have, an altar call of like for all different kinds of things. And I remember, just thinking, it's very clear. The Great Commission is very clear. All believers were supposed to evangelize and share the gospel and make his name known. And I just remember I don't remember which GIC it was. I was in college, so it was a while ago. Just putting my yes on the table, not knowing what that was going to look like, if it was just going on short-term mission trips every summer or going for a whole summer but just putting my yes on the table on however that laid out, however that worked out, just being available. And Chris had already been kind of going to Haiti when I met him, just on short-term trips with a team.
And what was he doing there, just briefly? Like, what exactly was he doing? Just
on the short-term mission trips, they would evangelize. They would, it's a very...
Okay, he wasn't working like at a specific school?
No. The short-term, we would just go, we would walk around, try to meet some physical needs. We had translators at the time because we didn't speak the language then. Share the gospel, just the typical like mission trip stuff. So when I met him and we started getting to know each other, he invited me to go to Haiti with the team. And so I did, and I quickly fell in love with the country as well. I think I went 2 or 3 times before he was feeling like there was something more he was supposed to be doing. He had also just like, if there's an opportunity, Lord, like make it clear. If there's not, then I'll just keep coming every summer.
Yeah.
And in 2015, the pastor we worked with in Haiti, we were at the dinner table and he was just like, so Chris, do you think you'd want to like come and live here and help teach English in the school and, help our ministry? And it doesn't get more like clear than like, hey, do you want to come? Like when you've been praying, like make it clear.
Make it clear. And it was like, oh, well, they want you here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I was excited for him, but at the same time, like, I was like, oh, what does this mean? Like, our life, like what's going to happen.
You could even see another person throwing a fit at that point.
Yes.
You really could.
Really. Girls nowadays, and also it's not just any country, it's a third world country.
Yeah.
So you're giving up a lot of, luxuries like, running water and such. Like, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So skip to that. So you eventually, he came back after a year of being there by himself. Is that right?
Yeah. So he came back, and Pastor Kenna again, one time at dinner said, so when are you and Cassie going to get married?
Well, he just sounds like he was God to Chris.
And Chris was like, we definitely want to, but like, I don't want to bring her here and not have like a place for her to serve. Like we want to make sure that she has a place. Right. And he was like, to work with the children. We want her to work with the children.
Yeah.
And so,
when you heard that, were you immediately like, that's what I'm doing? I want to marry him and go there?
Pretty much.
Oh, you just knew. Was it more about Chris or more about Haiti?
Both. I loved Chris. I wanted to spend my life with him. But then I was also like super excited about the work that I would be doing in Haiti as well. And just seeing how the Lord was going to work through that. Like I was seeing how the Lord was working through Chris. And then I was like, and then us as a couple and,
And that was just all God, because when I hear the stories of the way that you lived there and the things that you went through, like it was just God giving you that desire to be there. Right, Jennifer?
Yes.
And it was definitely not typical. We got married and then 2 weeks later we moved to Haiti.
Yes, 2 weeks.
Like we got married at the end of December and then like 2 weeks into January we were moving to Haiti.
Wow.
I don't know why, but the thing that I always think about is like, if y'all wanted hamburgers, you had to make your own buns. Like I just,
Of all things,
I
you
know,
had to make
of all
your
the
own
things that you
buns.
had to deal with in Haiti, the buns are what stick out.
So what do you think of when you think of the things you had to deal with in Haiti?
I mean, it makes me grateful for, like, when I come back to America, I'd be like, oh, so you can just like go to the store and buy bread?
Yeah.
Or what was really crazy was like during the pandemic when they started doing the grocery delivery.
Right.
And it was like,
Yeah.
you know, to get food there, it was like,
What
this
did you have to do?
whole,
Tell
or
us.
like, well, to get basic, like, just vegetables and stuff, we'd go to just the market down the road. We'd walk and there was a market and we could buy stuff. But if we wanted like ground beef or some American like chicken breasts and just stuff that I knew how to cook, we'd have to cheese, things like that.
Right.
We'd send a cooler on a bus that our ministry ran back and forth to the Capitol, 10 hours. And then we had a friend who would get our list, buy the food, put it in the cooler, put ice on it, and send it back 10 hours to us. So that was
A whole day.
how we would get our food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so to come here and it's like, oh, I'm just going to get on my app
Yeah.
and order my stuff, and then it's going to be at my doorstep.
Yeah.
Can you imagine her kids later in life and be like, you don't get to complain. I used to have to wait 20 hours just to get groceries.
Yeah, your kids are going to pay for your time in Haiti for sure.
And I do remember the first, like, after our first stint in Haiti, coming back and feeling overwhelmed, going into Walmart, like, just feeling this, like, there's so much stuff here.
Right,
Like, this just overwhelmed feeling of, like, oh, my goodness. Like, we just came from a place where people don't have food to eat, and, like, you can literally have anything you could possibly want in this one store.
Right.
So how does that affect you now? Like,
That's
does
what I was
that
gonna
ever
say,
still like? Do you ever just think we're ridiculous here? Like, do you ever, like there's so much
Well,
stuff?
how did that perspective like transfer over into actual life change? Like, what are things that you do differently now that you didn't do like before Haiti?
Yeah. I mean, I think it really helped us realize that we don't need as much as we think that we need.
Yeah.
So it, I
So
mean,
just
I'm not
needs.
saying that we don't have things, because we
Right.
do. I mean, we live in America, we have things.
Maybe
it's like
needs
you've
and wants.
learned.
Yes.
What is the
I'd
verse?
say we're
Like, for
more-
I have learned
To be
how to be
content.
content,
Yes.
whether in want or in need.
Yes. Because, I mean, I'd say we're probably more on the minimalist side now, just because we've lived in Haiti where there's literally been nothing, or like where we've lost all of our food because we had no electricity. And so we literally were like, okay, we literally don't have food, or,
right.
you know,
How do you keep that fresh on your mind? You know, or
it's hard sometimes.
that's what I'm thinking. Is I'm thinking the longer that it was ago, how's that sound? The longer the time that passes, the more you'll kind of forget about it. You know.
And it is hard. And sometimes, I mean, I'll get annoyed with Chris, but I mean, he's totally right. I'll be complaining about something. He'll be like, well, remember when we were in Haiti? And in the moment, I'm like, but it's true. Like, we just have to remind each other sometimes, like,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, well, remember when we were living in Haiti and, you know, we didn't have electricity, and remember when we were in Haiti and, you know.
So when you were in Haiti and in those moments where you lost all your food because the electricity went out or things like that were happening, were you frustrated, or were you just like, did you just have a peace about, like, you knew you were where you were supposed to be? Like, I
Yeah,
just
that's a
try to
good
imagine
question.
myself
Yeah.
in that situation, and I don't know what my feelings would be.
Like the shower.
yeah,
That's the story that I remember.
And the
not the
worms.
hamburger.
Yeah,
not the
that one
hamburger.
does
but
get
The
to me.
worms and tadpoles and
Yeah,
stuff coming
so
out.
you should
of the
probably
shower.
briefly share about the
explain that.
shower.
Yeah.
So this was before we had our own little
You just made
house.
me itch, by the way.
I know. I'm over here.
Before you had your own house,
We were living in a bedroom in Pastor Kenna's house.
Uh-huh.
And so it's just, so the water that we had comes from like this big tank up top that we have to fill up. So it's just this sitting water.
Mm-hmm.
And so tadpoles and worms just start growing, or I don't know, like,
Yeah.
They get there somehow.
and so then they come out of the shower head when you're taking a shower. So
Right.
like for Chris, who's bald, it's not a big
Yeah.
deal. But
He just is like, oh, there's a worm on my
when
head.
you have a lot of long hair, it's
my gosh.
not the best situation.
Right.
Yeah. So,
And I'm sure there were times where you were just like, no, this is enough. Surely.
yeah, what were your feelings?
I mean, like with the food and things like that, I mean, there is the initial like, oh my goodness, like, what are we going to do? Like, okay, I guess we have some spaghetti noodles. Like I can just make some noodles or something. But it really makes you depend on the Lord and really just have to like pray. And, even if it was just, we had to eat bread and, this jam for a week, like he always provided for us no matter what.
Right.
So, and the same thing, like with the Haitians, I mean, they have nothing compared to like American standards. But they're joyful. Like the kids don't have toys, but they're playing around with sticks and like these little tires and like,
Yeah. And that was, we're about to share our happies. And as I was thinking about it today, I was just thinking about, I think it's so fun to share like stuff that makes us happy. But to be clear, our true joy comes from Christ. And it's like, these things, if somebody's struggling out there, if they're having a hard time, lip gloss is not going to help them.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever you're going to say, Jennifer. I forgot you're happy today, but it's not going to, right? It's not going to help them.
No, it's not. Well, and I was just thinking, and there's joy in Christ, but I really feel like your joy is going to be the most fulfilled when you're serving, because that's the time when your perspective is off of yourself.
Right.
So I just remember when my mom was first diagnosed with cancer, very early on, I recognized it was not fun, obviously, but if I just started asking people around me how I could pray for them as they were telling me what was going on in their life, I became less and less focused on myself. And so because I was doing that for them, I was less concerned. And I think that that's the gig in serving, is that when you're focused on Christ and when you're focused on others and how you can meet their needs in Jesus' name, then worms in your hair maybe don't seem so big.
Right, because of the contentment you said.
Right. Yeah.
I was trying to be prepared with verses today, and that was not the one. Like, I don't know the reference to that contentment verse. Do you guys?
I know Paul said it, you guys.
Philippians? Yeah. That's embarrassing. I wish I knew that. But
I bet Wade would know.
I was thinking about perspective change in Romans 12:2. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And just how your perspective is so different coming from a place like Haiti and living there, and how we need to be like that on a daily basis, have our mind renewed by Christ. So, like I said, these aren't things that bring us true joy, but they are things that are just fun. So every episode we're going to end with a few happies, and Cassie has brought a few happies today for us. What have you brought?
So it's this, I don't even know how to say the name correctly. It's like maracuja. Juicy lip.
That sounds great.
Let me see. What does it say? Here.
Maracuja.
Oh, gosh.
So
Right?
it's Tarte. And it's...
Oh, okay. It's the brand name Tarte. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's just like... It's a lip gloss, but it's very moisturizing. And it's just like... just barely tints. So it's not like... super... Like I have a little bit on right now. I don't know if you can tell.
Oh, it looks good, girl.
You're welcome, girl.
But I always have like a couple in my purse, and I mean, I don't know how much they are because I always wait till everything goes on sale. Always,
sale? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you just wait till things go on sale, and then you grab a couple.
I'm excited about that. I think I'm gonna have to try it.
Except
when you get old, when you turn 50, like on your birthday, your lips have lines and it starts to, you can't use like juicy lip gloss anymore. Just a little tip, girls. Okay, so you had another one, like a blanket or something? I know
I did. It's just from Sam's Club, but I think it's like a Barefoot Dreams dupe or something. Chris is the one who, when we were talking about happies, he was like, what about your blanket? Because I'm obsessed with it. Like I always use it because it's so soft, and I get upset when he uses it.
I have a blanket like that.
Cassie, I need to get you one then.
I have one that we got this
red
blanket from like a bridal like our wedding shower. And like, I get mad when the girls are using it even. I take it with me when I leave the bedroom into the living room, and I use it during the day or at night. And
that's
then
an
I get it with
important
me
blanket,
and I
too.
take it to bed with me. I mean, like, that's my blanket. Like, it just, like, I take it on trips. It's mine.
Like,
Well,
I guess
Cassie,
I'm
I
just
think
very
you need-
possessive.
You need
over
two
it.
though, so that y'all can both have one while you're.
Because like if I go to bed first and he's in the living room and it's not in my chair in the morning, I see it on the couch. I'm like, he used my blanket. He used my blanket.
Oh, I thought you meant at the same time. You just don't like him using it at all.
No.
So it's not Cassie that needs another one.
We have
It's
a marriage
Rachel.
conference
to
coming
share.
up. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. No, I know what you're saying. So what my happy? Well, you do yours first. What's your happy?
Well, you know what? I didn't even bring anything because
Oh,
really
that's okay.
the thing that makes me the most happy, that I'm the most excited
Don't you
about.
say Jesus. We've already said that. Jesus.
Well, I'm going to the next best thing, which was what I originally intended.
Baseball.
So, it is.
I knew it.
So tomorrow is opening day, but when this airs, I mean, it will be like almost a week past opening day, which means Major League
Oh,
Baseball will
my
be. Y'all, I just love this time of year because March Madness, like it's the Final Four, and SEC baseball is happening, and it's MLB opening day, and then this isn't going to sound crazy, but the Masters are coming too.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
never before in my life could I have ever watched golf.
so much
Like I just
stuff.
only napped through it, but after I met Jeff.
This is so much stuff.
Like
She's
now
still
I just
going on the
enjoy.
sports.
I just enjoy it.
Go sports.
Yeah, yay team.
I wish someone was here to appreciate it with you because I just truly can't.
Well, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's just not me.
yeah, it's just not me either. Okay.
Cassie, there have been a lot of things in my life that you haven't appreciated. Like, this is my favorite Cassie
Okay,
story. We were
okay.
in Hollister not long after we first met, and I pick up this pair of shorts, and I'm like, Cassie, look at these. They're so cute. And she's like, no, they're not, Jennifer. And I was like, yes,
I
they
can't imagine
are.
you saying that.
No, she
Cassie.
did. And she was like, they're so short. Put them down. And I was like, oh.
For you.
Oh.
That was back when Jennifer wore, you probably
A lot of
needed
things
to hear
I
that a
shouldn't
little
have.
bit.
Oh, I
yeah.
did. I totally
Yeah.
did. And again, that was
you
when I
put
was
them
still in the
back.
tenant. I did. I did not buy. I didn't even go back and buy them later.
Good job,
So,
Cassie. Wow.
yeah.
So my happy
Influencer.
is, well, first of all, I wanted to talk about, I have what am I trying to say? An Instagram account called Read Fine Print where I talk about books. And last week on here, I talked about the book by Beth Moore, All My Knotted Up Life, which is really, really good. But when I got in my car, it got to the point where it was talking about many different things that she has sort of gone down a different path and believes a few things that I do not ascribe to. And so I just wanted to make that clear on here. It was really funny because our very first podcast, I got in the car and she started like discussing political things and just, she kind of went down a trail. And I was like, now, Beth, you were talking about your life. Let's go back to your talking about your life. So anyway, that was my podcast. Whoops. But the book
only
I have
one you'll ever
today-
have.
Do what?
The only one you'll ever
I'm
have.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be it. So I brought this book called The Bronze Bow, and I honestly don't know if I would have loved it as much if I hadn't read it while I was in Israel, because it's set during Jesus's day in the Holy Lands, and we were going to the cities while we were visiting the cities. That's where this took place, and so. It's a middle grade book, and it won the Newbery, I think, in like 1965, which shows you where literature has gone with kids, because this would not even be on the radar nowadays, I don't think.
And it would
But
probably be in graphic novel form.
Yeah, you're right. But it's a really, really good book, and I do wonder how much, because it is a little bit slow at the beginning, and how much I would have liked it if it hadn't been. I recognized so many things from what I was learning for the trip. But it's a very, very good book. So that's my happy. It was really exciting to read this on the trip. And I didn't have a lot of time to read, but I was reading on the bus, which I guess you guys wouldn't have done that.
Oh, no.
We were talking about car sickness before.
I would have been like Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap this up. But first, can we share your schedule coming up?
Sure.
Now, so Cassie is going to have her baby on Sunday, and
Yay!
which that's why we had to have you on the podcast, because we were It was coming up quickly.
Yeah.
So by the time this airs,
You're
I
gonna
will
have
have a little
A
baby.
baby. And her name's going to be Josie May.
Yes.
And I love that name.
Yes. So you won't be coming to the ladies' retreat.
I will not.
We're wanting to
miss
say
you.
a little something about that. We go every year. We
Yeah.
love it. Cassie,
I mean,
you
I've
go every
gone.
year.
I've gone every year except when I was in Haiti.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you're going to miss out because
know.
guess who's in charge of games this year?
Jennifer.
I am. And I think I'm going to do some Jimmy Fallon games.
Oh, fun.
That's fun.
You're going to do
I
a
know.
great job.
Oh,
I'm
I
excited.
hope so.
That's going to be amazing.
And Beth and Nicole are doing music.
That's right.
Oh.
That's right. It's going to be fun. I'm excited.
I was like,
Yes,
all my
me
friends
too.
are going to be gone that weekend, but I'll be home with my baby, so it'll be okay.
Oh, yes.
Oh
my gosh.
I cannot believe you're having a baby.
I know.
It's so exciting.
It is very exciting.
All the babies this week. Two pastor wives in our church, or staff wives, or whatever they're called,
Yes.
had babies.
Yeah, we're all going
baby
to be about a week apart.
That's insane.
And all
Age-wise.
girls, right?
One
No.
boy.
Oh,
One boy.
Anna's is a
Yeah.
boy. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, they'll grow up together. Like
Oh,
Yeah,
how
we're
fun.
we're
Week
excited
apart,
because we've gone
yes.
through our pregnancies together, and
Yeah.
now we get to go through the babies.
And y'all all are having your babies early.
Yeah, I know.
How
well,
fun.
thanks for being here.
Yeah,
thanks for
thank you
having
so
me.
much.
And
Yeah.
for our first official podcast, last week we
Yes.
just kind of talked about ourselves. This is our
Yes.
first interview. It was fun to have somebody that we know so well, and
It was.
yeah.
So thanks for doing it. Well, all right, you guys. We hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
Bye bye.